Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with our level 42 Brute Quintessence Lass, who has almost 13 million experience earned, 1.2 million to go to get to level 43, and 30 million plus influence. And we have started a story arc for Janet Kellum, who's asked us to defeat all of the villains in this building. We are on +3 times 1. This is the beginning of the story arc, so there isn't any story yet, but we'll get to it after we find a clue to Julianne's location. So Julianne, um, if we read the mission here, um, a woman named Pamela Thompson contacted me today and asked if you could help her find her missing daughter Julianne. So we're looking for Julianne, and we have Cray. So we are fighting the evil Cray. So I've done a number of missions on +3 against the Cray. It's okay. Not sure how we're going to do elite bosses, and we might have to reduce to +1 or something to do elite bosses. But so far, fighting the minions and lieutenants and regular bosses has been okay. We have to leave focused accuracy on, but the focused accuracy isn't so bad in terms of the endurance because we can recharge our endurance with our own powers, and so that enables me to keep the focused accuracy with permanently going with just the 2 endurance reducers on it, and we're good to go. You can see we're kicking butt, taking names. Now, one additional reducer to the endurance is, of course, the electrical attacks. Electricity usually does a bit of an endurance reducer, but we should be, again, okay, because we can always dive into the next spawn and just absorb their endurance. Well, it's not a whole spawn, so I'm not going to bother with the endurance right here. Oh, there's another guy. And there are 2 of them around me, so that makes it worth it. And we're back to full endurance. So as you can see, endurance not a problem when you can do that. We definitely need to get some rechargers on some of those endurance, the 2 endurance recovery powers. But again, we're mostly short of slots. We get 3 more at level 43, but we need a whole bunch because we need to slot lots of things. So if we take a look here, so energy drain is going to need a couple rechargers. We want dark consumption to get a couple recharges, and we got to finish soul drain. So we got 1 more on soul drain. We got to put 1 more on energize. That will finish them. And then I think maybe we'll go ahead and put 1 more on dark consumption and get that recharge started. I like dark consumption a lot because it does damage to them and drains their endurance, which is pretty awesome. And it sounds like there's a boss, and possibly these guys are +4. It may be a +4 boss, so that could be something to see. Let's take out this lieutenant before we go around the corner, because we don't want to be detected by whoever's talking until we finish this +4 lieutenant. You can see that we're doing just fine in terms of hitting with the focused accuracy going. We're alright. And we're doing pretty good damage to him. And that is a boss with a minion. Okay, boss. Got some extra inspiration, so we'll go ahead and use them. We're going to soul drain your soul, and then attack you at like 180% damage and do some serious damage to you. Let's go ahead and grab some more endurance from these guys. Back up to full. Love it. She's no problem, so we're just going to go ahead and let her attack us. Minions can't really do anything to you, even at +4. +3. Okay, so this is only a +3 boss. I thought we were going to do a +4 boss, and you'd see something. You'd see how that goes, right? But he's only +3, so that's fine. Not that hard at all. And we fought +3 bosses before. And there we go. Not bad, guys. Our hit points are maxed. You can see they couldn't really do anything to me, and we crushed. And this is why the +3 missions so far have been just fine. So we're about Nearly halfway through level 42 already. So this will probably be our last story arc. In fact, this will be our last story arc on level 42. Even if I get into another one, I don't think there's any point to filming multiple story arcs at this level. Um, because pretty much the results are always going to be the same. So we'll do this story arc, and then I'll bring you back when we're level 43. Although, I mean, the arc might level us to 43, I'm just not really sure. If it doesn't, I will keep working missions and maybe doing one story arc off screen and then bring you back when we're level 43 and on the next story arc. But we'll just see what happens as we go. Because I think most of these beads were a single story arc, and then I think I got maybe like a bead and a half off screen. You can see these guys give a lot of XP because they're so much higher level than we are. Right, the minions alone give, the lieutenants alone give, I think, 11,000. And the boss gave 27,000, and that's a lot. Right, and if you think about, oh, well, we need 1,000,000 XP. Well, it's not that much when you're getting 10,000 and 20,000 per guy. I mean, we probably earned on the order of 100,000 XP already in this mission. By the time we're done, it'll be more like 150. So then that's not that many missions to level up, right? 8 missions or so when you've leveled, if you're going to get that much XP. And that's one of the issues with doing +3s. Yes, it's more of a challenge, and that's great, but it also gains you the experience so fast that you level up very quickly. Now, I don't mind that with this character, since we've done all these story arcs with at least 2 characters already, Tiger Strike and Silver Phoenix. It's not a big deal if this one levels a little quickly. Not that I want to finish with this character by any means, because I've been really enjoying her. So I think what we'll do is we will get to level 45. That will be... So we have like 3 story arcs. We'll do this one, we'll do a level 43 and a level 44 story arc. And then we will switch to the next and final season, which will be level 45 to 49. We'll get to 50, of course, but we might finish up a final story arc at 50, but we're not going to start one at 50, and we're not going to do any level 50 gameplay, because there really isn't any point. On this server, you can't gain any veteran levels or anything like that, and you can't get the incarnate powers without doing the incarnate trials, so I can't show you them on video, because the incarnate trials are not something I think that I would want to record, even if I were to do them, which I almost certainly won't. And the minions, as you can see, even at +4, are nothing. Again, the one thing I don't like about +4, of course, is that everything is purple, so I can't use the color to figure out what I've got, but it's fine. Just means I gotta read the text a little more. It's alright. So, Janet says, Cray Security was there? Curious. What do they care about a missing person case that went stale over a decade ago? Perhaps Cray had something to do with Julianne's disappearance? They'd hate to see something like that come out now, right when they're gearing up for the release of their new computer operating system, CrayComp. They're the Microsoft of the City of Heroes world. I'm going to have a word with Pamela Thompson. She never told me the other heroes who investigated her daughter's disappearance wound up dead. Oh. Does that mean they're going to attack me? I wonder if I'm going to be ambushed. In the meantime, you might as well talk to that hero in the missing girl's diary. The Night Fox may have been the last person to see her alive. Alright, so we're going to go to Founders Falls, and I'm going to just go ahead and auto-teleport. So as we go, I've been describing what's happened in my D&D game, and we just had a session a couple nights ago. Today's Monday. We had one on Saturday night that went till well after midnight. Normally we stop around then. This went till 12:15, and we're in the middle of a battle, and there's no way we could keep it going, and so we had to stop. So I'll describe that to you, because I think what's happening is kind of hilarious in a morbid kind of way. So as I've described, the players, mostly unbeknownst to them, I don't know if any of them have actually read the module. I know a few of them have heard of it, but I don't know if it has yet occurred to them that this is what's going on. But they are going through essentially a literal adaptation in 5th edition of Dungeon Module D2, The Shrine of the Kuo-toa, written by Gary Gygax back in the early 80s. And I was going to just use the map and completely change it to my own design, and then after reading through it, I decided I actually liked it. That basically the entire dungeon is essentially a puzzle. There are hundreds, literally 3 or so hundred Kuo-toas. Some are pilgrims who are not very powerful and not very brave, and they'll just run away from fights. And then a couple of hundred that are actual soldiers, and they will fight you. They're not that powerful. They're maybe as powerful as an orc or a hobgoblin in D&D, just like not much stronger than a goblin. And so in small numbers, they're like super easy to kill. So 6 of them. So the way the shrine works is the things they needed were in the center room, which is like the first room you come into, but it's guarded by a bunch of Kuo-toa in the back. And then the one thing they needed was in the throne room, which was behind the shrine. And the players knew where the chests they were looking for, the votive offerings of Diana that had been stolen by the Kuo-toa, they knew where they were. They had found them, they had seen them with their familiars, and they were well aware of where they were. And the question was, how do we get them without bringing the whole complex down on our heads and killing us? And my best friend was most concerned with going in, grabbing the stuff, smash and grab as the cleric called it, and then getting trapped on the way out. And he didn't want to do that. So they were debating what to do, and they debated a little bit over email, and he said, we're not going to do any of these things. Here's what I want to do. I want to go in down these side hallways, which they had partially investigated one of them, and I want to take things out as we go. And this way nothing can get us from behind. And I'm thinking, okay, if he's talking about cleaning out this whole dungeon and killing them sort of going room by room, killing them, we could be in for like several months of session after session after session in this dungeon, because it's a huge dungeon, and even easy battles take a finite period of time in D&D. They're not instantaneous. And so I thought, okay, this could be an issue. I had written out, like what the guards will do. There are individual guards at various places, many of which are detailed in the book as if they see somebody, they're not going to engage. They're going to run and find the nearest guard room and bring the guards back. And so I was like, okay, this could be trouble depending on what happens. So they stealthed up, they passed without a trace, and they were as stealthy as they could, and they walked in, and they found the first solo monk, they're called monitors, who was guarding a room. And so if we look at this layout here, it's like having a guard in this room, a big hallway with a bunch of doors off either side, and then another guard in this room. And they were aware of those two. They didn't know what was inside the doors. So they took out the first guy beautifully. I mean, they surrounded him. They got a surprise round. They crushed him. They killed him. He was pretty tough, but they took him out. And they did it without alerting anybody, which was great. I'm thinking, okay, this could work, right? And you see trouble because I was like, this could work, but yeah. So then they started opening the doors, and they found a bunch of storerooms, and they hid the guard in the storeroom. I'm like, okay, that's smart. Then they're like, so I'm like, okay, the next thing they should do, because they're up here, is ignore all these doors and come down here. They know there's a guard over here, and there's an opening, right? There's no door, which means anything you do in this hallway, he could see. So the smart thing, and the thing I thought they were going to do, is sneak up to this guy, like they did the other guy, and take him out. Unfortunately, they decided, and it was my best friend that was kind of like, we don't want to get caught from behind. They didn't know what was in each room, so they decided to open every door. So the first few were empty storerooms, and then they opened a door, and there were some pilgrims, and they attacked them. And so then what I started doing was, because every room had pilgrims in it. These guys aren't that powerful, but I gave the guys in each room just a collective, single perception roll with a difficulty of 15, and they have +4 to their perception. So that means if I roll over a 10, 11 or above, they're going to hear something happening in the next room. And so The first room it didn't happen. The second room it didn't happen. And then the third room, the two adjacent rooms heard it, and one of them opened the door and then slammed the door shut because like, oh, there's killers out here. And then another door opened, and this one had like 5 or 6 of them in it, and it had an extra door on the other side of the hallway. So we have our guard room here. This hallway went up this way, right? And the guard was here, and this guy came running out of the room. So now the guard knows something's wrong, and the guard takes off further to go to do what he's supposed to do. The monitor, his job is to go find a guard room full of guards and bring them back. So now at this point, one of the guard rooms is going to get alerted because this guy's going to run over there. Meanwhile, the one pilgrim that ran out, they had a chance to chase this guy down, and they decided to let him go because he went around a corner and they were afraid they were going to get attacked. And so he went to alert a different group of guards. So I'm like, okay, now 2 sets of guards have been alerted. But in my mind at this point, they're the only 2 sets who are going to come, because as far as they know, they're a group of 15 guys and they're only 3 or 4 adventurers. They think they're powerful enough to handle it. Why wouldn't they? All of the information and experience that they've ever had in the underground here is that if anybody tries to invade their shrine, one squad of 10 or 15 Kuo-toa is enough to take it out, right? So far, it wasn't so bad. So then the party decided, look, we're not going to keep attacking these pilgrims. They don't seem that harmful, and I feel bad about just killing them off. So we're not going to do that, which is fine. And then they said, let's go see if we can chase down this guard. And one of the familiars who was posted where the guard had run out, the monitor, saw them coming back. And so the owner said, oh, they're coming back, and there was like 15 of them, and they were coming in formation. And so my best friend, the sorcerer, said, let them come up the stairs, and we'll attack them on the stairs. And I'm thinking, okay, this could be bad, because there are so many of them, they can't all fit on the stairs, right? And then logically, if you kill most of the ones on the stairs, the guys who are in... Oh, and I didn't realize my endurance had dropped a lot, because I'm attacking so fast. And we have our focus accuracy on. The guys, like, 15 guys are there, and 12 of them get killed on the stairs. The 3 guys in the back are going to go run and get more guards, right? They're not going to just walk into the fight. So I thought, uh-oh, this could be potentially trouble. And so he... But I figured, okay, we'll see what he does. So they start coming up the stairs, and he said, I'm going to hold my action until they get to this spot, and then I'm going to cast Web. Right? Now, what Web does is it's an entangle. So it entangled, and it worked great in the sense that, like, the front 8 guys, including the monk, got choked up right there, and so they were stopped. They couldn't go anywhere. But that left like 6 guys in the back who all saw the web happen, and they're not going to be stupid enough to walk into the web now, right? It doesn't make any sense. If you walk into it, you get caught. And these guys use nets as a primary weapon, so they are very familiar with entangles. So I said, okay, what are they going to do? They're going to try to go around. Now, going around meant that they were going to walk through another guard room. And I figured they might alert these guards, but I'll think about it, right? So I had them start going in that direction. It's like 150 feet away, so it's going to take a while. And by the way, one of the players said, oh, that's like the perfect use of web. And I'm thinking, actually, it wasn't. You should have let more of them come in and web the back group so they couldn't run out, right? Because the big fear of this isn't the guys coming in. It's the guys running to get guards. And then they, like, take the whole complex comes after you. So, of course, the sorcerer, what does he do? What is every sorcerer's favorite thing to do on the next round? Fireball. And the reason he did that was because it ignites the web and it does extra damage to the guys in the web. So they killed all the guys on the stairs, pretty much, with the fireball. I think there was one guy left who made his save. Everybody else was killed. And so they finished them off, and they're like, okay, let's go see where these guards went. So the cleric, who's an Aarakocra, can fly very quickly, follows them, and he sees them running down the hall. And I point out to him, it's on the map, but I made sure he saw it because it was very far away to the north. Way down this hallway which is a big, wide, like 30-foot wide hallway. Way down this hallway, you see two other guards, and they're kind of looking curiously to the south as this first set of guards that's fleeing from you is running toward them. And so they know there's another set of guards down there. And what does the cleric, who's a light cleric and has this spell, do? Fireball! Huge explosion gets set off. And I was like, okay, well, now you see those guards act surprised and they start shouting kind of off screen to somebody. So those guards alerted. So now they've thrown two fireballs. So I said you hear all these noises in the rooms because there were these little window slits, all these noises in the adjacent rooms. And I'm going to try to take everybody but the Paragon Protector over there out first. I said, you hear all these noises, right? Like you're alerting people because you're casting these fireballs. And so now the group of guards to the north comes, and they fetched another group of guards, which are Kuo-toa whips that are more powerful. So there's two groups of like 15 guards coming south at them. Meanwhile, those guards in that north section could see the guards who had just been alerted in the shrine by the pilgrim who had run away that they hadn't stopped, and signaled to those guards there's trouble. So they then alerted another group of guards. So now there are like two groups of guards coming at them from the shrine, which is from behind, and two groups of guards coming at them from in front. And they don't know the groups from behind is coming because they can't see them. They're like way the heck, a couple 100 feet away down several corridors and up a stairway. So they start nuking with fireball again. They start nuking the Kuo-toa that are visible to them. So they take out one group, they double fireball another group, and they're mostly dead. And then the next two groups come out of the stairs behind them, and they were like, "Oh crap!" Right? And the Eldritch Knight was like, "Okay, we're gonna get surrounded." So they decided to back up to the stairs that led to the guard room that the first set of guards came out. That's a dead end. But she said, okay, this way they can't all come at us from two directions. Well, they're kind of getting surrounded now. And there are more guards. There are a lot more guards. And my friend was like, gee, I didn't realize there were this many of them in here. I said, the gnomes told you there were a couple of hundred. He said, yeah, but I didn't think they were all guards. I thought they were mostly just like the pilgrims. Like, I don't know why he thought that. The gnomes said they're dangerous and there are several hundred of them. They certainly never said... They said there are some pilgrims and some guards, and it's about half and half. So when you hear there are 200 to 300 guys and half of them are guards, that means 100 to 150 guards. They've killed probably 50 of them, but that means there's like 80 left. It's pretty insane. The combat tracker, I'm surprised I didn't break it. There are still we're in the middle of combat, and there are at least 25 Kuo-toa in the initiative order, and there are another 15 coming that they can see, and then there are more guards. And I think the big problem isn't going to be, I think they can take these guys out, but what they don't know is there are all these guard rooms full of guards, and I took the guards that were in their posts, and those are the ones that are attacking, and I've moved all the guard rooms that were off duty, and all the guards that were off duty in the guard rooms to replace the ones who left their posts. So they're going to think those posts are empty, and they're going to go find that there are a whole bunch more Kuo-toas standing in those posts. And they're going to be like, how can these guys still be here? Yeah, well, they were in their guard rooms, and they came out to replace the guys who attacked you and that you killed. So I think it's going to be a really interesting next session. My friend who's really paying attention said, I'm a little worried about a TPK, a total party kill at this point. I think we may have bitten off more than we can chew. I can only throw 2 more fireballs. The cleric's out. I mean, they've already thrown 5, I think, fireballs. And the cleric is out of his level 3 spell, so he can't throw a level 3 fireball. He might be able to use his level 4 spell slot to cast fireball, but I think he's trying to save that for a healing spell, just in case. They haven't taken a lot of damage. I think the sorcerer got hit by a spear. and was netted. Oh, and this guy is doing his like you can't hit me act. Okay, well, we'll just sort of run you around until you stop. Um, so he's taken some damage and he's been netted. I think one of the other characters might have been netted. All that does is like restrain you. And so are we going to hit at all, or is he still unhittable? This is so annoying. Come on. Still can't hit him? It's ridiculous how long this lasts. Um, what the heck did we miss? Huh. Oh, we gotta go up. Okay. Yeah, this room always gets me because I either forget to go up or forget to go down or something. Um, so yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Originally, I wrote that the Kuatoa, if they defeat the party, will capture, not kill. But that was before the party, in sight of all the other Kuatoa, just blew them up and killed dozens of them. At this point, it's possible the Kuatoa might not capture them for sacrifice and might actually try to kill them. So I don't know. Now there's one out, and that is that the Deep Gnome leader is capable of walking through stone. I got this idea from Matt Colville, who for some reason thought Deep Gnomes could do it. They're not supposed to, but mine do, because his do, and I thought this sounded cool. So Trosly Garnet Getter, who is in fact an NPC in the original Shrine of the Kuatoa, who they've met and befriended their gnome in the party, he can watch what's going on from the walls. Right? He told the party that the Kuatoa can detect invisible people, but he said he told them they can't, like, we can move around unseen, and they didn't ask how, which surprised me. I thought they were going to say, how do you do that? And so they don't know that he can move, like actually melt into a wall and move around inside the wall and then come out somewhere else. And so they're not aware that he can do that. Now it's going to be really fun trying to find this guy. Okay, he's below me. I used the waypoint to find him. There he is. So so if they get to a point where they're captured or trapped and it's safe for him to do it, Trosly Garnet Getter can come out of the wall. Right? My plan was to say, you see the wall looking at you. You see eyes in the wall. And they kind of look familiar. And then he was going to step out of the wall and say, if you join hands, I can pull you into the stone and get you out of here. But that's a loss, right? If that happens, they've failed this scenario, because he's going to take them out of the shrine completely. Right? Now, whether they want to go back in, maybe go get a century of Roman troops and go back in or something, I don't know. But like, to me, that's a defeat. They won't get any of the experience that they would get for like getting out of the shrine on their own, because they didn't, and they won't have gotten the treasures they're looking for either. They're nowhere near those treasures. They're getting further and further away from them as they chase down or run from the Kuatoa. So this has been really interesting, because I could have sworn they were going to do okay because they had moved in so stealthily, and then when they decided to chase the guards down the big wide open hallway and just start launching fireballs in sight of the other guards, I was like, are these guys nuts? I was really surprised, because they had been trying to be so careful up to that point. And then I think what happened is just they were able to kill the Kuatoa so easy, they got really overconfident and thought, oh, these guys are... At one point, my friend even said, after several fireballs, have we even taken any damage from them? And one of the characters, had been like bitten by a pilgrim and taken 4 points of damage. And So I guess they were thinking they haven't even damaged us. This is going to be easy. And I was like, oh, this is bad. Because in Dungeons and Dragons, what kills you is the action economy. And if you're fighting 100 little weakies and you're strong, you can die. Because 100 guys attacking you, even if they only hit you 20% of the time, that's 20 hits. And even if they only do 3 hit points each, that's 60 hit points. That can put almost any one of the characters in this party on the floor, right? So I think they're going to start to have a lot of trouble. And yeah, it might be a kill. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I will probably capture them and put them in the prison and then have the gnome come out and take them out. But then the Kuatoa are going to be completely on alert and they're going to be guarding everything. All the passages in and out will be completely guarded. Any Kuatoa left are going to be in place guarding, right? I'm going to have to redesign, like redo the guard shifts and put like make sure 50% of them are in place and 50% of them are in guard rooms. So they're like taking these 12-hour shifts to protect what's happening. We need to protect this stuff, and they very well might have moved the votive offerings into the secret room because they're afraid they're going to get taken. And then they're going to have to find the secret room, which is going to be almost freaking impossible. It's very hard to find because Gygax was a sick puppy when it came to designing puzzles for players. So, the reason I decided to do this adventure as written is because I said this is basically a giant puzzle. If you just walk in here and start slaughtering, you will get overwhelmed bit by bit. And it was designed almost like to sucker you in. Because I thought when I first was looking at it, like these guys, this is for like a level 11 party or something, and these guys only have a couple of hit dice. They're so weak. A few of them are strong, but the vast majority of them are so weak. What is the point of fighting all these weak guys? And then I realized I don't want to say a bait and switch, but it suckers you in. And then these guys are weak. We'll go to the next room. We'll go to the next room. And then before you know it, alarms are raised. The enemy starts surrounding you, and now you're surrounded by all these little gremlins, basically all these little weak guys who just overwhelm you with the pressure of numbers. And how are you going to rest? You can't stop and rest. They're going to come get you. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like these guys may have kind of failed the puzzle at this point, and they're going to just have to win by brute force, and I'm not sure if you can do that in this adventure. So we'll see what happens. It's been quite the ride, and I am certain the biggest tabletop role-playing game battle in terms of sheer numbers that I've ever run. Even the Champions 12 on 12 battle, which was up to this point the biggest, was only 24 characters. I think there must be 40 or 50 in the battle right now, and there are more coming. I mean, I've been keeping them off the initiative tracker and just sort of moving them unofficially, just while the players are deciding what to do. I'm frantically moving Kuatoa like 60 feet or 80 feet at a time. Technically, they can move 120 feet, but I've been not having them dash to give the players a chance to at least figure out what they're doing and get the heck away. But I think they've kind of trapped themselves now, and it could get ugly. And the problem is they don't really know the interior, and the Kuatoa know it. So we'll see what happens. I think the worst part, as I said, isn't going to be where they're trapped. I mean, they might be able to get out of that. But I think they're going to probably then go forward thinking they've defeated everybody and find out all the guard posts that they think have emptied are refilled from the barracks. And that's where they're going to have trouble. And if they keep going, obviously, a lot more Kuatoa are going to come to try and defend. So, and the other problem they have is some of the sergeants and captains were in the barracks and now they're out. And they're with the other guards, so they're tougher. So it could get really rough. We'll see what happens. It's been fun. Hopefully I won't kill them all off. All right, let's call our contact, Janet Kellum, who says, Great Kidnap Night Fox. It sounds like we've got more on our hands than a decade-old missing person. Cray must have had something to do with Julianne Thompson's disappearance. Why else would they try to eliminate all of our leads? Yeah, well, Cray are evil, Janet. I guess you don't realize that yet. But you will by the time we're done. I think this is the Countess Cray story arc. What's it say about the title? The Missing. I'm not sure if this is Countess Cray. I feel like that might have been in the 30s. Anyway, we'll see as we go. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you're enjoying listening about my D&D group's exploits. Until next time, I am Scrapper Lock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server.